Coming at you full-fledged. It's your boy Regg, with another video for y'all, man. Welcome, YouTube. Coming straight in. Smash that like button, man. Comment at the beginning, middle, and end of the video. Share for others to see. Subscribe if you're new. And hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I drop. And let's get into it, man. Uh, We are down to two. We are down to two. The 2022 NBA Conference Finals are over, and the 2022 NBA Finals is set. It is now June 5th, uh, and we are just hours away from Game 2 of the playoff round that will crown the 76th championship in 76th championship team in NBA history. However, a lot has happened in between now and the concluding moments of those conference finals rounds. So, for continuity's sake, uh let's address said things. Just like my NBA conference semifinals video, I'm going to acknowledge the runner-ups of each conference, congratulate them, and make some takes on what should be done for certain players on certain teams. So let's get into it, shall we? Firstly, let's congratulate the Dallas Mavericks, who, for the first time in this new era, because they're in a new era, they got this LD era, I like to call it, the first time in this era advancing past the first round. Now, as the fourth seed, they would beat the fifth seed Utah Jazz in 6 games, and more infamously, they would defeat the winningest team of the season, the 64 win, my first seeded Phoenix Suns in 7 games. Now, we already know what happened. The game 7, the flameouts from our backcourt, the flameouts from our star center, the flameouts from our defenders, the flameout from the whole team. Uh yeah. I'm not gonna say that. Oh, let me address something. A lot of people haven't addressed this. A couple have. Shouts out to Two Raw for Sports for making a video on this. Cameron Payne. As a Suns fan, man, I gotta get on your head, bro. You're After the series, you were making the oh, DA was hurt, Book was hurt with a thumb injury, uh, CP3 had some kind of injury, bro. We don't go out like that, bro. If we gonna go out, we gonna go out how we did. We gonna go out getting our ass kicked. We're not gonna make excuses why what happened, because if you on the court, there's no excuses. There's none. Like, I remember just last season, I was saying when James Harden was hurt against Milwaukee, and he was playing, I was like, I was expecting them to win, and they lost. So I held that against his legacy. A lot of people were like, "Oh, you can't hold that against his legacy. He was hurt." I'm like, bro, he's on the court. Like, if you're that hurt, you shouldn't be playing. Like, we don't use that as an excuse, Payne, bro. And you making us look like some posing ass Laker Bron sexual or something, bro. We don't do that, bro. We don't go out like that. So I just had to address that real quick. But again, I'm not gonna say that Dallas ended our whole future as a franchise or anything, because we y'all know we see the memes about said player just doing whatever to a franchise. And I've seen a couple of those. And I don't agree with that because next season, without a doubt, we still gonna be a top team in the Western Conference. We still gonna be in a contender to make it to the finals with our roster. We still, Phoenix. It's not like people don't want to come there. Yeah, it's not like people don't want to come to Phoenix. It ain't like we can draw people to the team. And the fact of the matter is, we are better than your favorite team, outside of one, of course. Uh, but yeah, we're better than your favorite team. So, uh, but I would be completely disingenuous if I said the Mavs didn't leave things uncertain for us. Certain questions, Suns fans, uh, the Suns roster, the Suns staff, everybody involved with the Suns have to ask is, the most primary, is DeAndre Ayton coming back? Or the Phoenix Suns going to give him that max? Like, that's the biggest question. Like, he he was our we drafted him in 2018, and he's supposed to be on there for a while. And you know, another question we can ask is Chris Paul falling off? We know he just turned 37. He's battling. He was indeed battling injuries, but he did flame out. Uh, even with the injuries, uh, is he still? He I don't. Is he still worthy of being an even a complimentary player, a secondary player? Maybe he should be a tertiary player. Maybe he should be coming off the bench. Shouts out to Dime Dropper Podcast for I mean not well, I think it was Dime Dropper Podcast and Suns Geek that probably mentioned this. Maybe uh and I agree with it. Maybe Chris Paul should come off the bench and campaign should start. And I would like Chris Paul coming off the bench, bringing your team so much depth, and like would be contender of the 6 man of the year, and that's damn near like MVP. It ain't like MVP, of course, literally, but that's a big piece of a team, man. I could see Chris Paul winning that. So, should Chris Paul be in the same position that he was this past season, this upcoming season? Is Devin Booker a real first guy? Is he a real number one guy? Now, he is one of my favorite players, but again, I said this in some of my previous videos. He plays pretty, man. He plays pretty. You cannot do that in the playoffs, man. You have to muck it up. This is a guy who was getting angry when people were double teaming him in a rec game, saying, "Oh, we trying to get some practice in." Man, this is practice. It's gonna happen in a real game in the playoffs. Once you get there, you're gonna get double teamed. And we seen how he performed when the defense is gonna be locked in on him and he can't get his spots. He did. He was foul baiting a little bit in that game 7 in the beginning of it, but the refs don't want nothing to do with the outcome in a playoff game as much as possible, unless it's obviously like a flagrant or something. But they're gonna let that go, and he couldn't get a shot off, man. And he was just, and this is on the offensive end. The defensive end, they were just completely gone. Like, there was no cohesion at all. They all folded like lawn chairs, man. But yeah, those are questions that have to be asked for the team that Dallas beat in the first round. But I'm gonna digress a little bit more before we get to the players. Uh, Let me give props to uh the team that I said the Suns are not better than. Uh, just top to bottom. Uh, Let me give props to my Los Angeles Clippers. Why, you ask? It's because they beat before this postseason. They they beat the Dallas Mavericks these past 2 seasons, 2021 and 2022, and we showed the league and the public how to beat the Mavericks. Indeed, I mean, beat the Mavericks, specifically Luka Doncic. Now, it's not necessarily a complex thing to do. It's not like an intricate scheme to beat Luka because of the system he plays in. But the simplicity of it doesn't make it any less difficult. And the Clippers did it with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Reggie Miller, Terrence Mann, Marcus Morris, Nick Batum, all those guys. So be looking out for them next year. Be looking out for those guys next year. So let's give props to the players that stood out in this Eastern Conference Finals from the Dallas Mavericks. First, we are going to acknowledge one of my favorite players and one of my favorite point guards in the league today, Spencer Dinwiddie. Now, I am not one of these pseudo GMs that know about um the the cap space or the damn luxury tax or none of that shit. But I don't know his contract or anything, but he definitely needs to get paid, bro. Like some real investment money, you know. He already get paid millions. He already a millionaire, but some real investment money from a contending team. In this series against go against the Western Conference champions, I should say, before I acknowledge them. I know he averaged in the low 20s for sure. And that's coming primarily off the bench in this series. Now, in game 7 against Phoenix, he contributed to locking up CP3 and D Book. Uh, and and he stepped up. He stepped up in the first couple of games. He stepped up in the first couple of games when Luka was hurt against Utah. 1 through 3, he was hooping. So yeah, I think he definitely. I think Dinwiddie, even with that career altering injury that he had, like one or 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was an ACL or Achilles injury. I think even with that, he still can have like a more heightened role on a contending team. Like, not necessarily being the primary player, but not necessarily being a primary player, but maybe being a highly prioritized second man. Like we talk about the system that he plays in the Mavs. Yes, he's great. He's coming off the bench now, but I think he can just have a more heightened role. But yeah, again, congrats, and the future is bright for Mr. Dinwiddie. Another player, another player that you can put in that area of a player that can probably even have a more prominent role on a contending team, and I'm certain is more than likely to get a big bag this offseason because I know he will be a free agent, is Mr. Jalen Brunson. Now, we seen in this playoffs, throughout this playoffs, that he is one of the strongest and most dominant interior scoring guards today. Uh, his paint presence is like a big man. It's like the John Morant's and the Brunsons. He's up there with John Morant when it comes to paint scoring guards. So, and again, like Dinwiddie, Brunson also had signature games in all 3 of these series. Uh, I remember I remember a particular game against the Jazz. It was definitely between games 1 and 3. He and Dinwiddie uh scored. It was a win too. It might have been game 1 or 3. Uh, he and Dinwiddie scored for a combined 45 points, I think, at least. So I remember that game, and obviously Dinwiddie was another. Oh, Dinwiddie going. I mean, not Dinwiddie. Brunson going straight at uh D Book is CP3 in the next series, going straight at them, attacking them. And once they found out, once they saw him, they probably already knew, but once they experienced how, um, at times Chris Paul could be a liability on defense, it was just barbecue chicken for Brunson. And I know they came out on the losing end in the Eastern Conference Finals, but he had some nice performances in the Eastern Conference Finals. But when you're facing a better team, you got to do it on both ends, and it has to be consistent. So, with the Mavs looking to make it deeper in the playoffs next season, will these two players resign? That has to be asked. Because I mean, from what it sounds like, I mean, I saw that inside the NBA on TNT interviews after the games. It sounds like the guys want to re-sign, but that's only right now. We haven't even. It's not even the end of this season. We haven't reached the off season yet. Drafts have not happened yet. So, and more importantly, when you're at the negotiating table and you have spoken to some of your closest friends, family, spouses, agents, and then money start talking, views are going to change on how players view themselves and what they think they can do on other teams. So that has to be asked. Sorry, somebody's calling me right now. Just a second. I'm sorry. We're not gonna get some dead air. I'm gonna have to send a message real quick. Uh, all right. Yeah. So again, when that negotiating table, when these players and agents on the negotiating table, everything changes. So time will only tell on that. Now, the last player I would like to congratulate and acknowledge from the Dallas Mavericks is, of course, their star player, Luka Doncic, who in this last game 5 against the Western Conference champions put up 28 points, shooting 10 from 28. Now, if that says anything, 10 for 28, what I get from that reading a box score is that he put it all on the line in the last game. Now, of course, box score viewing is not the only component to analyzing an NBA game, because if you actually watch the game, you would see in the first, I'm gonna say, uh, quarter and a half, he was he was calling it in. The Warriors got hot quick. They got hot quick. They were making shots. The defense was solid, and you can tell just by some of his mannerisms and his body language that he's giving up. This is some of the cons of Mr. Doncic. I mean, he's an exceptional player in the NBA, but he has a couple of intangible flaws. And again, 10 for 28. It looks good on the box score, but he could have did way more in the first half, particularly the first quarter and a half. But again, he put up 28 points, grabbed 9 boards, and dished out 6 assists with an almost comeback. They did come within single digits after being down double digits for most of the game. I think they might have. I think it's nearly been 2 weeks since this game's happened. So I think they did almost get the lead, but the Warriors, not the Warriors, the Western Conference champions, who were uh at Chase Center and at the time still undefeated in the new arena, were telling themselves, we are not going to let this series go any further. This has to end in this game 5 so we can go to the finals. Because if we see how Dodgers is in elimination games, so we're just gonna end it now at home. Now, and they end up obviously winning. Uh, Last thing I want to acknowledge for Mr. Doncic is his postseason averages. Now, Doncic in the 15 games he played averaged 31.7 points per game, 9.8 rebounds, 6.4 assists. And surprisingly, this was a stat that surprised the hell out of me when I saw it. Throughout the 15 games, Doncic averaged 1.8 steals, and for his shooting percentages, he had 45% from the field, 34.5% from 3-point range, and 77% from the free throw line. This is great stats for him, man. Doncic in year four. Doncic in year four is the second all-time leader in postseason points per game with 32.5 points. That's that's crazy. That's nuts, man. You know what that showed me in just 4 years? In just 4 years, you know what that shows me? It shows me that elimination Luca, Game 7 Luca, is real. And it also shows me that he is one of the very few players that elevates his game in the playoffs. This is true, man. We seen it again. I had to acknowledge the Clippers earlier. We seen it. I seen it personally because I watched these games. I seen it personally the last 2 seasons. I know a lot of people are kind of new to some players because they don't really pay attention to them unless the TV tell them to, and they had to be forced to. So a lot of people are just now seeing how good Luka is in this Western Conference Finals. But I seen it. Uh, Another thing, this all-time leader scored PPG in the postseason tells me is he's better than some of his counterparts, particularly his draft classmates. Now, last season, I personally said that DeAndre Ayton and Trae Young were better than Luka Doncic because uh Ayton, of course, went to the NBA Finals, and uh, Young went to the Eastern Conference Finals, losing in 5 games to the eventual NBA champions. Now, as time goes on, your opinion changes as it should when you get more information. I know it's a lot of people that hate when people change their opinion when they get new information. It's almost like they just want them to be wrong instead of being informed. Like it's a, oh, I'm wrong, you right type of thing. But anyway, as time has gone on, this season, Da, I mean, he was on the winningest team in the NBA, and they were favorites. But of course, we know what happened in the playoffs, and he didn't make that astronomical leap in stats like I thought he was. Like a lot of people say, I'm seconding it. I completely agree with it. I'm saying it that DeAndre Ayton this season should have been the second option, man. Should have been the second option. His points, he should have been averaging at least. DeAndre Ayton should have been averaging at least 23 and 13 or something like that. 23 and 13, like a double double, a real high double double. Like, and he didn't do that. Young, I don't even think the Hawks made the playoffs last season. I'm not even sure if they made the playoffs last season. So I mean this season. So that that's all that needs to be said on that. And another thing that tells me is that Doncic, shouts out to Two Raw for Sports again, man, for coming out with this video. Doncic might have a better Doncic have might have a better 4 year start in the NBA than LeBron James. I mean, they play the same style. They play the Harden Westbrook style. They're just higher level of it. I think Doncic has the potential to be better than Russell Westbrook and James Harden all time. Also, they play that style, but I think Luca might just have a little more. He shoots. Yeah, he can shoot. Obviously, shoot better. I think he's more fundamentally sound. I definitely think he way more fundamentally sound than LeBron James' first more years. Again, Luca was a pro at 17, so he definitely more fundamentally sound. He might be a better rebounder. He might be a better rebounder even in this era. He might be a better rebounder than LeBron now. He's definitely a better scorer of the basketball than LeBron in his first 4 years. And he might be a better passer. Like when it comes to this style, this one man army style, that's the one man army style. When it comes to that, Luca, he has the skill to even surpass the greatest at the style, being LeBron James and the big old Oscar Robertson. But he would have to do a lot, a lot. And when I say a lot, I'm not undermining these players at all. He has to do a lot to surpass them, but he has the skill, and he has the what it's looking like now. He's coming up, so again, only time will tell. He's a top 10 player in the NBA for sure right now, but I want to wait until the season is completely over so I can uh make proper all time ranking and current ranking changes. So that's it on that. Mark Cuban and Jason Kidd, all they have to do, they just of course gotta wait for the draft off season. And depending on what their roster looks like, well, all they have to do is put the roster together, centered around Luca, of course, and then Kidd has to do his thing in the coaching position. So that's what we're looking forward to. That's what we should be looking forward to when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks. We transition. Now, let's give congratulations to the Miami Heat, who let's give congratulations to them for the grueling effort they put in. They were just one shot away from overtime, which was one game away from their second finals appearance in 3 years. So that just goes to show you how close they got. I have to give them credit on that. Uh, Eric Spoelstra. Two words I have to describe him. Two words I have to describe him. Great coach. Now, a lot of people are just, I mean, it's people that already knew, but a lot of people who should have already known are just coming to the conclusion that he is a great coach. Like, they forgot that he, uh, just prior to 2020, they forgot that he made 4 finals appearances and won back-to-back NBA championships. But you know what they say. Eric Spoelstra didn't win those rings. LeBron won him those rings. Even if LeBron literally did not win shit until coming to Miami and went to Miami to learn how to win from Dwayne Wade, who was coached by Eric Spoelstra. But, even then he wasn't called great. Then, even with the great coaching performance and the great performance of the Miami Heat players, he still wasn't uh, considered a great coach after he solidified those finals appearances in the mid 2010s with this finals appearance in the bubble. Now we still have to. I don't give the bubble an asterisk because of the players who played. I give I don't give it for the players' effort. No, I'm not one of them people to say. I mean, obviously some players didn't want to be there, but I'm not going to acknowledge the players' effort as the asterisk part. I'm acknowledging the fact that things were completely, uh, this was completely like unprecedented. So, I mean, the bubble, it has, I mean, we can't deny the fact that the Miami Heat didn't, it was a fluke because they just made it this deep. They were one game away from the finals. They still were not giving him credit after that. But and I mean one and another thing I want to talk about the bubble is a lot of people don't know this, but certain players were allowed to when certain players weren't allowed to practice. Certain teams and players weren't allowed to practice. Other teams and players were allowed to practice. Lakers, LeBron James. Yeah, they were allowed to practice while others weren't. So it's just a whole bunch of details that just wouldn't occur in a regular season for certain outcomes to occur. You know, so and not to mention, uh, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to talk about on the bubble. But yeah, even then, even after that finals appearance that solidified the previous ones, he wasn't considered a great coach by some, by many. But now people are continuously coming around. And again, I give you a air round of applause, Mr. Spoelstra, for your performance this postseason. I know your point guard said that you guys don't take moral victories and you play for championships, so this is a waste of a season. But I still gotta give you credit because the people in the television mainstream media won't do it, and some even on the internet media won't do it. So I'm giving you credit. You might not ever see this, but just know you get credit for some people. Now we give credit to Mr. PJ Tucker, who played who played well throughout all his playoff series defensively. He was one of the big pieces in that defensive game plan to stop Trey Young. You had Buck, you had him and some of his other teammates. He was a centerpiece in that scheme that won them the series in five. And ultimately, Tucker showed that his former team, the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks, made a mistake not re-signing him. They definitely could have went with his services this postseason as they were eliminated the prior series. So yeah, credits to him. Congratulations to Mr. Tyler Hero, who had a comeback season after his not so good sophomore year. He got kind of starstruck. He started feeding into his own hype. Yeah, he was on the Jack Harlow videos and stuff like that. But you know, the Heat who were talking about trading him, they got into his head and they changed his mindset and he got focused. He wasn't starting, but of course, obviously, he won the Six Man of the Year award, putting up great numbers. And while he couldn't play in the last few games of this postseason, he did help them get there with again a comeback season. I think putting up 20 points a game over at least 20 points per game off the bench. We gotta give credit to him, and he's gonna be a big part of their team next year, as they will be a undeniable threat in the East. Mr. Max Struess. You know what Max Struess is, guys? Max Strus is another one of these Miami Heat uh uh diamonds in the rough that was found in the mines, man. That's my figurative description of Max Strus, man. Max Strus, he had a couple of he has some. I forgot what game it was in this 7 game series. It might have been 6 or 4 where he played well. He definitely didn't have the typical high school prospect, college prospect, NBA drafted in the first round type of career. He definitely had to work for it. He definitely had to work for it. It wasn't the typical. It wasn't the typical introduction into the league. And Miami Heat, they love those type of players because not only do they have the hunger from that, they're gonna be in shape because we heard about the Miami Heat body fat um protocols, and if you don't have a certain level of body fat, you're not gonna get playing time. So not only does he have that mentality, he has the physical, you know, the physical, what's the word? The physical characteristics to uh, be an effective player on the court, in which he is now. So again, I'm not a pseudo GM. I don't know this guy's contract, but if he is on the team next year, he will and he should have a bigger role, so the Heat can hopefully, for their sake, make another NBA Finals trip. Let's give credit to the multiple time All Star Victor Oladipo, who was at times sporadically through this playoffs their most consistent player on both ends. On both ends. And in this I think it was we're gonna acknowledge in the first round against the Hawks first. I think it was the last game in the closing game of the first round when Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry were out. He played well on both ends and he closed them out. He closed them out. So, you know, considering that this team didn't have as much offensive production as they could have as they needed, and uh Oladipo is, he's still, he's just now coming back into himself. The Heat have ever changed the lineups. So considering all those factors, and he played the way he did, I mean, I really can't fault him on either end. I mean, you can fault the whole team, but him individually in this series against the Eastern Conference champions, I can't really blame him. He did his best. When the best player didn't show up, he showed up. So I really can't blame him. This was a great effort, and if he's on the team next year, I definitely think he should be like, if Tyler Hero starts, maybe they try Vic as the sixth man. So we'll see when that what happens with that. Now, of course, the last player I'm gonna give credit to is their star, uh, shooting guard slash small forward, Jimmy Butler. Now, a couple of things. Couple of things I noticed in this playoff run and this Eastern Conference Finals is uh Butler is without a doubt a bubble superstar. And if you don't know what a bubble superstar is basically a player who at that point in time in their career, the only thing they need to become a superstar is the hardware, the championship, the final MVP, and the regular season MVP, or at least two of the three. Only thing he needs is the hardware. So Butler is on that status now where he has done everything in the league except win a championship. He's made all defensive teams, all NBA teams, all star teams, finals appearances, well, A finals appearances, deep playoff runs. Everything that could be done outside of like scoring titles and stuff like that. He's done pretty much all of it except win the championship. So he's right there. He's another top 10 player in the league right now. Where he lands, we'll have to wait again until the end of the season. But congratulations on a great playoff run. Uh, One of the stats that stood out to me that I noticed during this series against the Eastern Conference champions was that in the last 3 years, and it could be possibly four if the Eastern Conference champions win the finals. In the last 3 years, the playoff opponent that has beaten every playoff opponent that has beaten Jimmy Butler's team, they all always advance to and win the finals in the last 3 years. Now we can go back to his uh 2019 series against the Toronto Raptors when he was on the Philadelphia 76ers. We already know that went 7 games. Kawhi Leonard dropped one of the greatest shots in postseason history. That was in the second round. Then the Raptors go advance to the conference finals, beat the Bucks, win the championship against the Warriors in 6 games. That's what happened there. 2020, the Miami Heat, they they faced the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals. Uh, they are without their leading scorer Gordon Dragic and one their second and third best player at that time, Bam Adebayo. They take the Lakers to 6 games. They lose. They lose in 6 games. Last season, in the it might have been the damn. I don't even know. It definitely wasn't the conference finals. It might have been the second or first round last season. They lose in 5 games to the eventual NBA champion. They lose in the first and second round to the eventual NBA champions, Milwaukee Bucks, in a gentleman's sweep. No, no, it wasn't a gentleman's sweep. They did get swept. Yeah, they did get swept. Wait, did they get swept? I think they did get swept. Yeah, I think they got swept because I think yeah because the you're in the bubble. That's where the Heat beat them in the gentleman's sweep. Yeah. They got swept, and that was a series where Jimmy Butler played terrible. Like he played bad, and the improvement from these last two playoffs, like we got to give him credit on that too. But you know what that stat shows me? That stat shows me that Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, unlike a lot of these players, unlike the Hardens and the Youngs and the Mitchells, Butler's a real threat in the playoffs. Butler gets better in the playoffs. Butler is a postseason player if I've ever seen one. Now, here are his playoff stats for this season. He averaged 27.4 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 2.1 steals, shooting 50% from the field, 33.8% from the 3-point line, and 84% from the free throw line. And with all that, like often, it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. Not this season. Now, everybody that was just praised, everybody that just praised from this Miami Heat team can easily be blamed. Can easily be blamed. It can easily be blamed. It can easily be blamed for the reason they lost and then some. Tucker, I said he was exceptional defensively, but it was games where he was already limited offensively outside of that corner three. It was games where he was not good offensively and he was trash defensively. Hero, same thing. Inconsistent offense. Not to mention that he wasn't able to play after getting hurt. So there's that. Struce, same thing. Offensive and defensive inconsistency. It was a couple of games where it might have been a couple, not just one, maybe a couple games where Struce put up donuts. He put up 0 points. He put up 0 points. Butler, he disappointed in two crucial games. This wasn't supposed to go seven. This was not supposed to go seven. Miami really, in reality, Miami should have won this in 5 games. But it ended up going seven because uh, I think a 6 point performance from Jimmy Butler, a 10 point performance. Like, that cannot happen in the playoffs, man. Like, that cannot happen. Like, it's something that's kind of, I'm noticing, like, being a basketball viewer, the inconsistency on a night to night basis, bro. Like, after putting up 40 points, you get 6 points in the next game. Like, how is that? I be thinking to myself, like, how is that even possible, bro? And you like a pro, like, that cannot happen, man. He disappointed in two crucial games, and to add to that, one of the players that helped them make it to the NBA Finals in that 2020 run, who started in the finals, Duncan Robinson, he didn't even play. He didn't even play. And I know he fell out rotation. I don't know what the franchise and the team makes thinking of him right now. I don't know his morale or anything. But considering that he helped y'all make it to the finals, you would at least think he would get some minutes. I mean, Duncan Robinson is not. I mean, no, Duncan Robinson is not Klay Thompson, but he can shoot, and especially during those times when that defense and that Celtic defense, when that Eastern Conference champion defense, when that was causing y'all to go on runs without scoring, and when it was close, he could have been one of them players that got y'all a go ahead basket. Like, I don't know why they didn't play him. Next season, they have to play him more. Like, they definitely should have played him. I think that was one of their mistakes. Maybe take out Struce, who putting up donuts, and put in the person that started in the 6 game final series that y'all had 2 years ago. That's just my take on that. And Kyle Lowry. Championship player they acquired in the past off season. Championship point guard. Uh, he just at this point in his career, he getting older. He's just getting old. I think he's just getting older and he's getting more injured. I mean, the only like full series he played was the 5 game series against Atlanta in the first round. Outside of that, he probably played two games. So yeah, I don't know his role on the team next year if he's gonna be on it or not, but maybe they maybe should consider. I don't know how much they paying him either, but maybe they should consider doing what the Suns should consider also doing, and that's starting his ass off the bench as the 6th man, making they bench deeper and potentially getting a 6th man of the year award. Like, I don't know why these older point guards don't do that, or older players period. Lowry, he's just getting older and more injured. Then you got Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo, who looking like a real third man on the championship team. He's not even looking like a good 2 man on the championship team right now. Now he did have a couple of good games, particularly games 6 or 7 against the EFC opponents. But for the most part, he got completely neutralized by their defense. He got completely neutralized by their defense. It was a game where he took 5 shots. Cannot take 5 shots in the Eastern Conference Finals in any game. At your position, I mean, position in your career and on your team now, he shouldn't be taking 5 shots in any game. Man, well, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is moves have to be made. Moves have to be made, and some certain players on this Heat team have to change their mindset for things to go in their favor next year. So, enough of the runner-ups. Now let's acknowledge the winners. First, let's acknowledge the team who went on a revenge tour of sorts, defeating 3 of their last opponents to eliminate them in the playoffs in the last 3 years. The Boston Celtics. Now, I must say, they the real deal, man. This Boston Celtics team got everything. I mean, they in the finals already. This is why they up 1 right now. They got everything that is needed from a championship team. They have size. They have skill, defense, athleticism, offensive firepower, coaching, being battle tested. In the first round, they eliminated the team that beat them in a gentleman's sweep last year, the Brooklyn Nets. Super team. In the second round, they beat the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks, who beat them in a gentleman's sweep in 2019 when they had Kyrie Irving. And then, of course, this past Eastern Conference Finals, they beat the team that beat them in the bubble, the Miami Heat. So they're battle tested, and I mean, you can say this. You can say the Celtics had a harder run than their finals opponent. They battle tested. Like, it ain't nothing they haven't seen. Like, they went 7 twice and they swept a team. So that has to be taken into account, man, in this finals round, man. That has to be taken into account on how good this team is. But yeah, let's give credit to the players. Uh, Marcus Smart in this 7-game series against Miami, he showed that he is the anchor of their defense on the perimeter specifically, as he contributed to Butler having those bad games and Strus having a donut and uh and who else? Who some of the other guards and other players not performing up to par. I think he guarded Bam. He guarded Bam a couple of times too. So yeah, defensive player of the year worthy for sure. My pick was Mikal Bridges, but what I'm seeing from him, I can't complain from him for him winning it. Uh, the OG, Big Al Horford, man. In season 15, he is showing that he can contribute championship qualities to a team, man. Like, it's crazy because Al Horford always been good, bro. Like, I remember those Hawks when Mike Budenholzer was coaching the team when they had Al Horford and Josh Smith and Lou Williams? And Josh Smith and not Josh Smith, Jeff Teague. I mean, yeah, Josh Smith, not Lou Williams, but Jeff Teague and them boys. I remember, and they got swept by Cleveland those years and shit. Like, he always been a he He's been all-star caliber. He's an all-star caliber uh big man, and when he's not an all-star caliber big man, he always been a crucial piece to a championship contender. Now, if y'all follow players like I do, y'all know Big Al been jumping to Philly and Boston these past couple years. You know, he was with them with I think they had Brett Brown as their coach, and they were contenders. He was a backup for Joel Embiid, if y'all remember. And when Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens they was running things, they had him in Boston. They just got rid of him under Ime Udoka and Brad Stevens as GM. They just got him back. So he always been valued on championship contenders, and he's changed his game, man. He is a legitimate threat from the 3-point line. He can pass. He solid defender at his age, 15 years in. And man, dude, congratulations, y'all. See, if y'all haven't seen, he is he is odds on favorite to win Finals MVP after game one. 26 points, uh, clutch 3-pointers, just hot from the field, just locked in. He been locked in on both ends the whole playoffs, and if he gets Finals MVP, he's a superstar. I don't care what you say. Al Horford will be a superstar. He's been an all-star. He's been an all-star. This not like Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups, who wasn't even an all-star, Kawhi Leonard in his first Finals MVP. This not like that where they weren't even all-stars. Al Horford has been on 60-win teams before. Now, who was the best player? It was one of them Hawks teams that had 4 all-stars. So, who is the best player on the team? That's up for debate, even on this team. But he would be a superstar because he's already been an all-star. So, I don't think Iggy at the time was. You could consider. Oh man, now this where it gets murky. Yeah, this where it gets murky. But yeah, man, if he wins Finals MVP, you can say that he is the best player on the team in this instance because he is their leader. I think he is the. I honestly think Al Horford is the leader of the team. But we're gonna get a little forward. We're not gonna digress too much. Derek White, he's been locked in. He was a mid-season trade acquisition from the San Antonio Spurs. We know Coach Ime Udoka has ties with the Spurs, so I'm pretty sure he knew what he was getting from White, and now we're seeing it. Uh, he and Grant Williams, when they locked in, they can give you a bit of everything on the court. They can put points on the board. They defend pretty well. There's some big dudes, man. Uh, they can defend pretty well. Uh, they can shoot, and yeah, that's really all they need to do is defend, win open, get shots, and pass the ball, and they can do all of that. And even without Robert Williams the third, even without Robert Williams, their defense is still elite. It's still elite even without him. That just adds another dimension. That just adds. They could put Williams and Horford in. They could put Williams at the 4 and Horford at the 5, or the other way around. That just adds just more dimension. Or they could even put them at the 3 in some cases and go super big. Like that just adds more dimensions to their defense. But that just goes to show how good they are defensively without him. So because he's been in and out of games. Jalen Brown, uh, he can step up as the number one when needed. Again, the best player on this team, I don't it's not solid. I'm saying that now. Like the best player on the, and I'm not going off numbers. I'm going off everything. Like you know, we see if you've been watching basketball long enough, you know when the best player is the best player. It's not even debated unless it's a super team. But yeah, he can be number one. It was times when back when a couple years ago I was saying Jalen Brown was better than Jason Tatum. He shoots better and he plays better defense. This dude, I'm starting to see it. Jalen Brown really bleed green, as they say. He really bleed green. He has that Celtic. Jalen Brown has that Celtic in him, bro. Like he played physical. This dude, he played physical. And at times he's a better shooter and defender than Jason Tatum, so he can really step up. Jalen Brown has the potential. If he consistent enough and have a standout game and some clutch defense and some clutch shots, timely shots, he could probably be Finals MVP in this final series. He's showing Finals MVP uh, potential. He, and he was showing it in the Miami Heat series. He was getting, and that is exactly what he was doing in the Miami Heat series. He was putting up solid numbers, shooting well, getting timely defensive plays, timely baskets, go ahead baskets, time baskets, stuff like that. Hey, y'all better watch out for Jalen Brown, man. Watch out for Jalen Brown. And lastly, let's give credit to the first ever Eastern Conference Finals Larry Bird MVP. St. Louis's own Jason Tatum, man. In this series, he averaged 25 points per game, 8.3 rebounds per game, 5.6 assists, 1.1 steals, shooting 46.2% from the field and 35% from the 3-point line, man. Hey, he just and this series was kind of mad. It was a good series because it went seven, but the blowouts, the blowouts. When Jason Tatum, he stepped up, man. He stepped up. Like I'm, man. I just being this. I kind of want to get into the. Well, let's give Jason Tatum credit, man. Let's give Jason Tatum credit. He did his thing on offense, man. Game, game. Those threes, man. Those threes. I don't think. I kind of want to stop giving credit now because right now we're in the finals and work has yet to be done. Credit, I'm done. I'm done giving credit. Okay, we're in the finals. They're up one. They need three more. I still, as good as they are, as good as they are, and Draymond Green said this in a post game in the post game interview after game one, and I agree with it. There is no margin of error in the finals, but specifically for the Celtics in this case, I don't think the margin of error is like way too thin. Like I don't. And Marcus Smart said it himself when he was mic'd up in a huddle. He said that they can't do what they were doing against Miami, against Golden State. And I just don't think they can. How many times are they gonna? How many times are the Celtics gonna win when Jason Tatum has 13 points or 12 points, however he had, low teens? How many times are they going to win in double digits when Jason Tatum scores like that? But he did have 13 points. He did impact the game in a different way, which I give him credit for. But how many times? They can't do what they can't do what they did the last 3 rounds to win against their opponents in the finals. They can't go minutes without scoring, shooting dumb threes when they have the biggest team on the court. The Celtics, look how they matched up against Miami. Look how they matched up against Miami. They had size. They were just gonna win off size. When you really think about it, they a big team outside of Peyton Pritchard, who's 6'1". Everybody else, everybody else on the Celtics is between 6'4" and 7'2". Marcus Smart, that's a big guard. Jaylen Brown is a big guard. Tatum, he was 6'8" coming to the league. He didn't grow into 6'10". He can play in between small forward and center. They never I don't think they ever gonna play up center, but they do play him as power forward. But he's big. Al Horford, Robert Williams, Derek White, all big guys. You can't be shooting threes. Like I said this before in my previous videos, you cannot match threes with threes, especially against the team they facing in the finals. They the biggest team in the NBA, and you got to take it to the rack. I mean, yeah, they just won game 1 with threes, but I don't think that's gonna happen 4 times. I just don't. I just don't. Tatum, he can't have uncharacteristically bad games in this series. Now the game 1 performance, I kind of give him a pass because he did have a double double and assist and not too many turnovers, so he did help his team. But he can't have those 10-point games in this finals. You can't have 13-point games. You just can't. You just can't if you want to call yourself the best player on the team at least. And Williams, he's in and out. I mean, he did play game 1. He played fairly well. He was getting open lobs from Marcus Smart. That can be a that could be that could be a possibility that he hopefully not, but that could be a possibility that he gets hurt in the finals. Why they have the best odds on paper. They have the best odds now because they playing with house money. I mean, they already got game 1, so they don't really they necessarily don't have to win game 2. But if they do win game 2, they go back home. I mean, either way, it's looking like this is a possibility if they win game 2 tonight. If they win game 2 tonight, they might. It might be a sweep. It just might. But I think for that to happen, they games they games have to be like they was in game 1. They have to be dominant and damn near perfect to beat their opponents. Because if it go but within single digits, that's when the championship experience is shown, man. I'm just not sold on this team. And they don't have it because they don't have a leader. I mean, when the last time? I mean, you can say it, it's just not solid. The best player is not solid. And I'm just, man, we got to see. It's in motion now. The finals is in motion. And let's just advance to the Western Conference champions, man. Let's give them credit. The Golden State Warriors. 6 finals, 8 seasons. Not since the Bulls in the 90s has that been done. This is a real dynasty, man. They they exude real championship culture, prioritizing winning in championships. They show a real culture, especially in this sports economy where contenders don't contenders don't even stand over 3 years, let alone 8 years. Let alone 8 years with free agency and um, players wanting a bigger role and player movement in this championship. I mean, in this sports economy, in team sports, period, teams don't last that long, and that has to be, and that has to, they gotta get they organization, man. That's a great organization. I'm not even a Warrior fan, but I gotta acknowledge that, man. They homegrown and they really have grown to be one of the most in NBA business. They one of the most profitable organizations, and when when certain guys got there, it wasn't like that. So I gotta commend them for that, man. And shouts out to all the real shouts out to all the real role players, man. In an era where everybody is a superstar, everybody want to be a superstar. Their word is just so loosely thrown around. Shout out to the real role players. Kevon Looney in the Maverick series, man, had multiple. He had a 20 plus rebound performance. He definitely averaged over double digits of rebounds, man. In a playoff game, man, you gotta get rebounds, more possessions. You don't know how much possessions are value in the playoffs. More possessions, especially against a team like Boston, who they going against. That's definitely gonna be needed, man. Shouts out to Kevon Looney. Be elite to play great defense on Bertans, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Luca at times in in the Maverick series. And in this series, I think they should play be elite to man because that's just more offense. He can shoot, and he's pretty. He got some size. He can guard Tatum and Brown and Grant Williams at times. I think you could put him on Grant Williams and Marcus Smart. Be elite to shouts out to be elite to Jonathan Kuminga, rookie Jonathan Kuminga had multiple double digit performances throughout this playoffs, man. Shouts out to Jonathan Kuminga, who could potentially win a championship his rookie season. Talk about winning culture. You got guys coming in winning championships. Hey, shouts out to St. Louis native Patrick McCaw, man, who won 3 championships with the Golden State Warriors. We have a 3-time NBA champion with the Golden State Warriors. I mean, not actually no, he won 2 championships with the Golden State Warriors, and he won another one the next year with the Raptors. But shouts out to 3-time NBA champion Patrick McCaw, man. But anyway, Jonathan Kuminga, man, he has the potential. Hey, if he could play in the finals. Then give him some minutes. He can be an offensive. He can contribute offensively. But I don't think he's gonna get minutes in this finals. He might. Did he play in game one? I don't even remember honestly. I have to go back and see. Otto Porter Jr., aka Wilt Chamberlain Jr., man, back on the Warriors. He had some nice performances in game in the Mavericks series particularly. I think he had like a 20-point performance in that series. He can shoot. I think he can. I'm not really sold on his defense, but if needed, he can play some minutes and bring some instant offense to the team. Uh, as as annoying and overrated as he is, man, I gotta give credit to Draymond Green, bro, on his defense and his playmaking, and hell, even his scoring in the Western Conference Finals, man. He dropped 17 in the closeout game. 17 points in the closeout game, man. Double digit performances throughout the playoffs, and that's saying a lot from him. But when that wasn't coming, when that wasn't present, he did show up defensively, and he passed fairly well. He did pass fairly well. I wonder what his playoff assist average is so far. So I gotta give him credit on that. And next, credit to Andrew Wiggins, man. Props. props on him buying in, man. Props on him buying in on the Warriors. This is a guy who was uh, drafted in the lottery to Cleveland, traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he would be a franchise player for years, getting paid like one at least. And it kind of wasn't working out. I mean, he was good. He was good, but he didn't make a leap. He was averaging between 16 and 19 points. But on this team, where he's embracing being a role player, he's averaging around the same points, but off better percentages, and he's playing better defense. Draymond Green has helped him out on defense on the defensive end. He's athletic. He's sneaky athletic. He's shooting better splits. Last year he shot his career high for career high shooting percentages on the Warriors. He's shooting better. He's averaging the same amount of points, but it means more because it's in the flow of the game instead of him forcing it like he was in Minnesota. And both of them now are kind of reaping the benefits of uh Carl Anthony Towns being the primary guy on Minnesota and Wiggins being the role player on Golden State. So congrats to him, man. That's a great thing seeing him buy in. Klay Thompson, heart of a champion, man. Quintessential 3 and D player. In the closing game, he dropped 32 points, 12 for 25, 8 for 16 from the 3-point line. And man, it was a great thing seeing him. Man, he was about to shed some tears in that post game interview. He was about to shed some tears in that post game interview, man, and it was a great thing to see. So they're in the finals now. Let's see if he can take them over the humping game too in a must-win game. Uh, and credit lastly to the first ever Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals MVP, Steph Curry. He averaged 23.8 points per game, off 43.9% from the 3-point line, 7.4 assists, 6.6 rebounds. This just goes to show, I mean, the numbers just go to show his gravity, man. And because any the last 3 players that I just mentioned, Wiggins, Green, and Thompson, all those guys, in my opinion, had a say in being conference finals MVP. And it just goes to in those numbers just goes to show the gravity of Steph Curry. And folks, when you watch the game, you can see a person's impact. And sometimes, rarely in this league, can somebody's just impact on the floor transcend their numbers. And that's what happens when this team gets going. They're the best team. They still in 8 years are the best team at this positionless stretch force uh 3-point style. They still are 8 years in. They still are the best at this style. Boston can't afford getting in a shootout with this team, man. They can't afford doing it. Yes, they won in game one, but they have to win 3 more games. The series is not over. As good as the Celtics are, I don't think they're as deep. I do not think they're as deep as the Warriors. Uh, on the same side though, can Green, can Green and Looney guard Robert Williams, Al Horford, Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, and Derek White? Because they're gonna have to guard all of them. Will Curry finally dominate in the finals? He just had he just had one of his best games in the finals. I mean, but you can't go scoreless in the second quarter. You can't go scoreless in the second quarter. He just had one of his greatest quarters in his finals history. We need some. He has to step up in game 2. We gotta see. Will Clay again? Will Clay Thompson show up? Will we see Clay game 6 Clay early because they're gonna need it in game 2? Will Green? Will Green show up offensively with all the talking he does? Will he show up offensively? Will he cost them another title not showing up on offense? Will he cost them another title talking? Will he cost them a title talking the Celtics into motivation? Because the way he disrespects his opponents is crazy. Like, and to not be producing like his mouth produces, that's just not that's not good. Is he gonna cost them a title doing something stupid on the court, getting himself suspended? We will see. And I forgot about Iggy. Will finals Iggy show up? Iggy had a solid game. Iggy had a solid game in game 1. Not to mention Gary Payton Jr. He just got cleared. He just got cleared. Man, I just don't think. I don't think Boston can win. I don't think Boston can do it, man. What y'all think? Let me know. Me personally, I'm standing on my opinion. It's not in my favor right now, but I'm standing on it after Warriors in 6 games. Yeah, I know I'm not a Dubs fan, but I just respect history and precedent. You know what I'm saying? Like, the last time they were in the finals, yes, they did lose in 6 games. They did lose in 6 games in their last finals appearance. But this team has no finals experience. They don't have a superstar. Uh, and they're not consistent enough. They're not consistent enough. I don't think the Warriors are gonna blow a 24-point lead 4 times. Like, I just don't think that's gonna happen. But y'all let me know, man. Hit that like button. This video is getting kind of long. Hit that like button, man. Comment throughout the beginning, middle, ending of the video. Share for others to see. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I drop. If there's a particular topic you want me to speak on, hit that link in the pinned comment section below and donate to the Rays, man. And